No, Moses.
Oh, hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos. We are back for Magic Round week. Get pumped, lads. Magic Round is just around the corner, round 11, but holy crap. We first have to dissect these team lists. I'm joined by the 2021 champion, Tim Moody. Tim Moody, how do you feel?
I feel like a two-ease.
I feel like a two-ease.
Man, look, dissecting this, man, I don't know. We're going to need more than some scissors. We're going to need, like, Edward Scissorhands to come and help us chop through it. There's a lot going on.
Lucky we got Timmy Tin Snips right here.
Yeah, that's right.
So we had this show planned out, and then we've looked at team lists, and we're like, we need to go through it all because we're finding things as we go and things we weren't really expecting. We have to go through it because I feel like even if we dissect it, we're still going to miss things. So we're going to go through it. But firstly, how was your week? I mean, do we even care about your week anymore? Like the week looking forward is just way too exciting and carnage at the same time.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's carnage, but I guess, what was is important. It was tough. Like, Nath going down with that hammy was, like, really, really frustrating for me, just because, like, I've got nothing out of him. I waited all year with just Nico as there and then Hutcho, so I've sort of taken hit by not having that second guy there. Waited for Nath. The patience of him being held back and then coming back and then having another game off and then coming back and then injuring himself again. So just got nothing out of him. It really sucks. That's really cost me. Last week I said that I was really tossing up on who to sell for Drinky, and I was leaning to Turbo. I ended up putting out on Wednesday the next day I changed my mind pretty quickly that I wanted to sell Turbo. So that was kind of a win because then I've sold him now and I don't have to deal with that this week on top of other stuff. And also I guess that Walsh scored well as well. The thing that really, that like every week I've just have one thing that, at least one thing, but one particular thing that just really brings me the hell down, like, and makes me just question my existence and, why I make certain decisions. And this week I had the opportunity to pick between Blaze Talangi and Piakura as my final reserve, and they were playing in the same game. And I never really go to the chat to run my ideas past you guys unless it really feels like something I'm that on the fence and can't, get off the fence about. And I'm just like, well, I know, but I feel like I made my better case for Blaze. Like, I know he's got the running game and he looked good at centre. There's upside in him, and Piakura just sort of being pretty underwhelming for week after week. But I just sort of tried to play safe and tried to avoid a potential 30. And I got a 20 out of Piakura when Blaze scored 93 and cost 73 points. And that'd be a massive jump. I don't want to look at it, but yeah, somehow I managed to jump rank this week, which was nice. I'm sitting in 6,700th. It's the highest rank I've been, and the last 2 weeks I've jumped, and they've both been pretty bad weeks. So it's been weird because I feel like there's been like a lot of lower scores below mine, but then a lot of scores above mine to make me think that my score's no good. But yeah, I scored 1180. How'd you go?
Yeah, I scored very similar, 1178. We're on exactly the same score at lockout, and I had a few players to update. So it seemed like I was going to have you pretty much, but it wasn't to be. Obviously, I went chance to Drinkwater, which I'm kind of happy with. I was toying with the idea after Tommy got injured to just hold on to Chance just because he's a playing fullback, but the temptation, especially for Drinky with that matchup. But I think we'll get into it shortly about matchups and how they're actually going because the Titans have turned a corner. They're still leading through points, but they have turned a corner.
Well, that first half, it was 20-0.
Bro, that first half, the Titans played so good. They defended well. The Cowboys were awful. They were so bad.
It was a weird game to predict. A part of me thought that the Titans have been up for so long that maybe this is the game they just drop off and get smashed by a Cowboys who can just put on points. And then, I was also like, maybe the Cowboys have been bad. I think they lost for a month straight. I think this might be 5 weeks in a row now for them. Yeah, so I guess that was that factor as well. But yeah, Drinky it was a bit of a frustrating trade. I forgot to mention there were 2 other trades that I made. The Dom Young one, which I obviously said I was going to do last week as well, and selling Dallin, which that was a big swing. Like
he lost a lot of cash too.
Yeah, and I was a bit reluctant about it because it felt kind of sideways. But yeah, you just kind of had to trust that one team was on a upwards trajectory and the other one was sort of crashing down. And then I made a crazy trade. Nico was ruled out, and I pretty much had a tantrum in my little space and just went, I'm sick of this. And I sold him to Sammy Walker, who scored well this week. I tried to sort of assess it. I think looking back on it, I've actually, the last 2 nights that went to sleep, I've woken up 3 or 4 times middle of the night and I've just gone, Sam Walker is in my head. And I'm like, and it's not a good thing. It's like, I've got Sam Walker on my side. You know what I mean? And it's because and I've woken up to it, so it's bothering me.
Yep.
Because, Nico's, if he plays this week, which he's named, although he's playing a tough Roosters side and he's got Penrith next week, there's still backup. There's all these games around Origin. I could be in big trouble, and I could see myself possibly buying him back. I just don't know what I'm doing. I might just spend the money, though, temporarily and try boost up. That was the mindset. Upgrade Chance, upgrade all these other guys that are kind of like I've got depth, but they're not really that playable. If I can get them to more playable guys, then maybe that helps me with the fact that I'm burning trades.
As much as all these injuries have caused carnage, we have to use trades and stuff. I think building depth is so key. Like, looking at my side, I only want to play a couple of players outside my regular 17, and I feel like my 25 is a lot weaker than a lot of 25s, but my 17 is okay. My 15 is probably quite strong, but my 15 to
I feel the same for myself pretty much. Yeah.
And I think we really need to start getting rid of these, shit guys like Chan who aren't getting
Well, they're the guys that are costing like me every week. I don't know if it's doing it for you, but like Piakura, I'm trusting on 20s and 30s. And
yeah, well, Fini Furuaki has been that for me for a long time. I haven't checked
I've played Galvin for too long for 50s.
I think Galvin's okay. I take a 50 with a guy like that, but
because there's been nothing else. But now maybe there is.
But these guys, we want to have them and trade them to guys who, one, we're either happy to play or who are going to make enough money for us to move on anyway, because when carnage like this hits, our immediate reaction is like, fuck, I got to trade this guy. Imagine if you had the luxury to hold on to an SJ or a Tom Trebojevic. I know these are quite high quality positions that you do want to kind of capitalize on, but like Joey Manu's out this week. What if someone doesn't have a strong 17 and they're like, shit, I really needed him. I need to trade someone who I was planning on holding. And I think just building depth is so important right now, and it's probably the play going forward to it, just the way we're going.
I could be in big trouble trying to get Nico back by spending the money.
Yeah.
But look, I'm just going to go with the flow. Things haven't gone particularly my way, so I get a bit crazy and creative over this buy period, and it's not always intentional. It's just the trigger finger comes out and I start doing moves. You know what I mean?
I'm just checking for someone. The cheapie I really wanted named didn't get named.
Who was that? Can you say his name?
Fata Ape.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because
he's in your side, right?
Sorry?
Because he's in your side.
Because he's in my side, and like he's one of the guys who he's sitting there, and I've probably got to move him on to build depth in my side, even someone like Joe Chan. But just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Picklebet. Use the code TURBO when signing up. They have a good range of multi-markets and a lot of exclusive markets that they have available. We'll be using Picklebet over the weekend at our Magic Round, and using the code TURBO, that's always going to help. So make sure to know what you're really gambling with. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858. And I got a shout out to Winners Locker, because Winners Locker had their draw last week, and there was 3 winners. There was a massive prize, 3 prizes that were given away. They transferred the money on the spot to the people who signed up, and that was massive. They do have another draw next Friday, which is $50,000 cash. So
Nice to win 50K.
Forget winning SuperCoach. You can win $50,000 cash with Winners Locker. Use the code TURBO when signing up. Go to winnerslocker.com.au, suss out their memberships. And as I said last week, the memberships accumulate. And so you get an entry-level amount of memberships. If you use the code TURBO, you get a couple of extra. And then they compound. They double every month. So check out winnerslocker.com.au. There are 3 packages there that give you exclusive access to the mobile app, invites to Winners Locker exclusive events, 1,000 monthly reward points giving you access to more perks, and a lot of other stuff. So suss out the website, and that will be good for you. And I hope one of our people win that have signed up, because a couple of people have signed up already, which awesome. So moving on, do you want to start on the team? Actually, no, I have a little bit of a deep dive for you.
Sure.
So obviously throughout the year, we've tried to assess what teams are going good and what teams are going bad. We've tried to be aware, like with the Titans, for instance, they're doing a lot better than they were at the start of the season, but yet we're still kind of targeting them because they've got that aura around them that they're going to leak points. So I wanted to bring up some stats. I deep dived into it this afternoon, and I want to have a look at the teams that are conceding the most SuperCoach points. And so this isn't necessarily in a certain position, but it's just points in general. Who do you think is the number one side for conceding SuperCoach points over the last 2 weeks?
Oh, 2 weeks, that's tough.
I was going to do 3 weeks, but I probably should have done 3 weeks, but 2 weeks is like very raw sample size.
I'm going to say maybe the Cowboys.
The Cowboys aren't even in the top 3.
Okay. South was my first one, but I don't know.
So the Broncos are conceding the most SuperCoach points at an average of 971 SuperCoach points per game over the last 2 weeks. Obviously, that was the Broncos' performance really hurt them a couple of weeks ago when Crichton went over for a couple of tries.
Yeah.
Second is the Warriors with 914. So obviously the Roosters are absolutely just killing teams.
Yeah, but so it's probably more about what the Roosters are doing, because I wouldn't be, although it's it's only a 2 week sample size, it's still a sample size. I wouldn't be saying that Broncos are a team to necessarily mark in your calendar to be excited.
No, exactly. But at the same time, like they're letting through a couple. They played Parramatta on the weekend, and they still let through a couple of points. Like a lot of these teams are averaging about the same. They played Parramatta on the weekend, and they let in 866 points, which is a bit more than most of the average games. So Manly, a bit of an attacking side. I think Garrick owners rejoice. Like, there should be some points there for him to kick goals. But obviously with the Manly side at the moment, we probably want to stay away. But, like, you know, there's players like Olakau'atu and Daly Cherry-Evans who are still options at the moment. Second is the Warriors at 914 points conceding. And third is the Rabbitohs at 888. So that's kind of telling us our gut. The Titans were at... I've got them here somewhere. The Titans... Gold Coast, 771 points in the last 2 weeks on average. So they're actually killing it. Who do you think is the first defensive team to, like, who do you think has conceded the least SuperCoach
Sharks
points?
Off the top of my head, just because they've been impressive defensively and gritty, but then they still let in a few points.
So the Sharks have only let in 753 SuperCoach points, but they're not even in the top 3.
Yeah, they had 18 points scored on them last week. And
first is Penrith Panthers, 709 SuperCoach points they've let in. Obviously, they played the Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs the last 2 weeks, so they're kind of teams that have been struggling in attack lately. So I think their defense is still great. We obviously know not to target people who are playing Penrith, but it still holds up. Second is the Roosters. The Sharks play the Roosters this week, so I think that's going to be an awkward matchup because they're very SuperCoach heavy. You sold Nico Hines on the weekend, so I think that's a good sign for Nico Hines.
Yeah, the Magic Round thing, though, could... Like, you think it'd be like a real defensive sort of... That more of an Origin feel, sort of grindy sort of game, but... I don't know, maybe they both put on attacking shows still while...
Yeah.
Being quite good defensively.
Yeah.
I think those still big plays will still...
For sure.
Come.
And third is Canberra. 731 points. They just had the bye on the weekend, so this is only going off one game.
Week, yeah.
But yeah, I just looked into them stats. I just wanted to make sure it was like what I was thinking it was. But I haven't also... I really want to deep dive into the positions and see who's scoring what in the last 3 rounds.
Yeah, a 2-week sample size is rough because, when you mentioned Canberra are a third on that list... the week prior to that, they got pumped 40-0 by the Sharks. So I think a lot of the teams are sort of struggling to find any sort of...
rhythm.
Yeah, for the most part, except for maybe a couple of the top teams. Even some of the bottom sides are like improving a little bit. Like the Bunnies are showing a little bit more ticker at times for stretches on the field rather than just being awful for the whole 80.
But what I will do, I will deep dive into these positions and I'll do it over the last 3 weeks and into the high upside positions. I'll look into it and I should have that up on our SuperCoach Experience Premium group by Thursday. We do have our Q&A recording on Thursday afternoon as well. Just FYI, so I will read out some of them stats on the Q&A podcast. Let's go through team list, Timmy, and this is exciting because it is there's more and more the more you look at it. So the Raiders play the Bulldogs 6 o'clock Friday. Firstly, Magic Round. Excited?
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm just trying to keep it chill for now. I don't get too excited and over expectation and it not meet my expectations because last year was so wonderful. So I'm just going to go with the flow and then let the beast of Magic Round take me.
It's my first Magic Round, so...
Oh, well, get ready.
My expectations are high. I know this time last year I was really feeling the FOMO at this point of the week.
Feel like you weren't invited to the birthday party.
Yeah, but a shout out to DM Podcast Studio who haven't seen their studio. It's been about a year since we've been here now. It was about Magic Round when we started coming into the studio, so they've done a lot for us. Shout out to them. But Canberra versus the Bulldogs, dare I say, I will still be at the Caxton when this kicks off because I don't think I'll be there for the first game.
I'll be there.
All right, well, I'll have to see how everyone goes then. Jordan Rapana, Nick Kotrick, Matt Tomoko, Sebastian Chris in the centres, Xavier Savage on the wings, in the halves, Strange and Weeks, front row, Papali'i, Tarpanay, hooker, Danny Levi, Hudson Young and Elliot Whitehead in the edges, Morgan Smithies at lock, Tom Starling, Mariota, Trey Mooney, Emery Gula. And then we don't have any Chevy Stewart on the extended.
So Ricky B and I, just giving him a bit of a rest, just a week off before the bye. Seemed like, that was just his answer for then.
And now no one's talking about it because they just had the bye. So there's, but Rapana is back. And Nick Kotrick, mind you, I think he had an all right game his best game in a while.
So I own Chevy, and now I've got some Kitty. Maybe I could consider upgrading him and not letting him just dwindle along.
Did you get Armstrong?
No.
See, I feel like going him to like an Armstrong or Fa'alongo, or you already got Blaze Talangi, so I feel like one of these guys are the perfect upgrade if you got someone like this. Like for me, my trade right now is Fata Ape to Armstrong. Plays round 13, which is a plus.
Plays 14 too, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
I've got to avoid the 14.
Yes, I think 14 is very...
I've gone tricky. Heavy on the... Yeah. So now the reason I'm now wanting to trade out guys like Chevy Stewart, and I've also got Strange, who I was willing to just hold on to and let lose cash. Now that I've brought in guys like Izako, Dom Young, Sam Walker. These are 3 more guys that play round 14. I've got to counteract that. I've got to offload these other guys I don't really need.
And then you got to worry about who's backing up from Origin at the same time.
Well, I do this too often. I just dump so many Origin players every year, like more than I plan to. I just go, get out of here.
Yeah.
Give me the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the play with players like that. Joe Chan via Ben Trbojevic. Do that. Like, do that to an Armstrong.
Problem is, though, I want to make 2 trades, and I think there's 2 trades I want to make instead of that in key positions. I could make 6, 7 trades this week and not even be going sideways, you know what I mean? Just like I've got so much to deal with. Appy Coruscant's doing my head in, Piakura's doing my head in. There's all those other smaller.
I feel like I can make like 23 trades and just be happy with my side. To be fair, there's like the other week I had like a bunch of kitty to play with and there was no one I wanted to go to this time of year. I think it's the time to build at the moment. Like things are settling, like the Dom Youngs are coming and going. For the Bulldogs, Connor Tracy at fullback, on the wings, Karaz and Adakar. Karaz coming off a great performance. Was in some doubt, so it's good to see him named. Zeri and Crichton in the centres. Burton and Hutchison in the halves. King and Hughes front row. Marnie at hooker. Kickout and Salmon on the edges. Kurtman at lock. Hayward, Curran, Moran, Preston on the bench. The only thing that's screaming out here is Jacob Preston named on the bench. He actually lost a shitload of money on the weekend, and I think he'll be one to eye off very soon. If he does maybe get another bench performance this week and next week, he'll be at a really good price.
He's the first try scorer at Magic Round last year.
Oh, nice. He's 572k with a break-even of 101. He scored 24 on the weekend, so if he does that again, he'll lose another 60k, go down to 510. If he does that again, he goes to mid-400s, so he'll be at that mid-range price. Mid-400s I don't like. I'd like to see it happen for a bit longer, to be honest. Like, I'd love to see him at 350.
Yeah, that'd be super cheap, though.
Just like super cheap auto. Anything else here? Kraz I've been interested in, but he's nearly 700k now.
Yeah, and like I don't know what the injury thing was, but it seemed, was it the back end of the game thing? It seemed like a lot of owners were concerned, so I'm a bit concerned.
It was kind of like someone fell on his ankle, and he was just like, it just went from underneath him. 690k. His base stats are phenomenal. He got 3 line breaks and a try on the weekend, so only got 100 points. Like, his base isn't as good as we've made it up to be, but he's still scoring 40 odd points in base, which is pretty good for a winger. It's pretty elite for a winger, to be honest. But I think with their draw, they do have a good draw. I just 700k. I don't.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the makeup of your side and how many of you got in. Like, I'm pretty stacked in the centres, like, at this point. And there's so many other guys I'd still like to have. Like, I'd like to have Manu, and I'd like to have Karaz, and I'd like to have Garrick. I don't have any of them, but, you know, I've got Azako, Lomax, Holmes, Dom Young, Earl, Tulangi. Those guys aren't moving at the moment. And then I've got Chevy Stewart. So Chevy could probably go to one of those, but I'd be spending nearly all of my bank on going to a primo guy from him, and it could be the play. But I don't know. I think I'm going upgrading the halves.
Matt Burton, been in phenomenal form. Cleary down, SJ down, Hines in doubt. I do think he's one of the standout options, but with all these injuries for New South Wales, it means he's probably likely to play Origin. Maybe in the halves, maybe on the bench, maybe at centre. Maybe
18th man. But yeah, I reckon like the more and more I think about it, it's, I don't know, he does seem like it's like a 1 in 3 sort of. There's other name. For me, it's Hines, Moses and Burton are the 3 in contention for those 2 spots. But there's other media outlets and stuff are throwing up Jerome Luai still in the picture, and Luke Keary. So who knows? It is a new coach. There's a whole lot going on. I might take the risk on Burton. Just like there's other one, like for guaranteed guys that are certain, or like even like guys like, say, Angus Crichton, if you haven't got him, like he's pretty much almost certain now, right? Like the amount of form, and there's not that much competition in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Matt Burton could be risky. It could be a risky trade-in. But I think, like, yeah, I just feel like he might miss.
For Origin, no one's certain, but you can rely on Matt Burton.
For what?
Well, it's just a rhyme.
Oh, okay.
It's just a rhyme.
I bet it's the rhyme. Yeah.
So he's a third most traded in at the current point in time. 3,600 people have traded him in. He's got a good draw, so if he does miss out on Origin, it's great. 760K. I think you would have liked to make a bit more money on that trade, but I think you can't be picky at this time of year. If you're getting in a high upside player like Matt Burton playing the Raiders, Dragons, and Knights in the next 3 weeks, you want upside. Like, you're not looking for cash, and he's the kind of guy who can do it. And I love the way he's been playing. I think he's a great option.
Yeah, but even just one injury to, even maybe the back or a major centre, he could be straight in, and
yeah, like Bradman Best goes down this weekend. It's Matt Burns.
So if you are just trying to avoid that, and because you might want to then have to trade him out, then maybe you'd wait. But if you're willing to take the risk,
but if you've already got 13 players for round 13, you've already got 14 players, is it just worth just doing? Because I feel like you can't be. There's so many guys up for contention that you just can't. Like, they're not all going to miss, and then if they don't get named for Origin, you're going to be like, shit, I need to get him in round 13. Just take the stab. If he doesn't get picked, you've already got the numbers anyway.
I've got maybe too many numbers, so it's kind of like, is it worth it? But I just kind of don't want to just leave Cleary there either.
Yeah.
I kind of...
All right, I think we've spent too much time on the probably the least exciting game of the week, but Manly play the Broncos. Cooler named a fullback at 460K. Raymond Tuamala Vega on the wing with Jackson Paulo, Garrick and Talau in the centres, Brooks and Cherry Evans in the halves, Paseka and Alloway in the front row, Carl Lawton a hooker, Olakwatu is back, Ben Trebojevic in the second row, Jake Trebojevic there, Jordan Chen Kamtong, Corey Waddell, Ethan Bullymore, Matt Lodge on the bench. No Nathan Brown, not even on the extended, which is sad. And for the Broncos, Reece Walsh at fullback, Oates and Mariner on the wings, Katoni Staggs and Cobbo in the centres. Ezra Mam and Jock Madden is back, which I guess is good for them. Jensen and Haas in the front row. Tyson Smoothie replaces Billy Walters. Piakora Ricky, Pat Carrigan, Blake Moser, Xavier Willison, Kobe Hetherington, Jack Gozewski on the bench. There's not much doing here, but the thing that stands out to me is obviously the first player I said, Talatau Cooler.
Yeah, well, as a non-Garrick owner, I'm super glad he's not gone to fullback. Like, it's so much better for... Like, he still scores well at centre, but I would have been pretty panicked if he was at fullback. So, good for non-owners. Yeah, owners probably be a little bit annoyed by it, but it's still fine.
Cooler is 470K with a break-even of 70. I don't love that he doesn't play round 13. I think he's someone who I'm pretty happy to wait until after round 13.
Yeah, like he can go nuts. We've seen him go really, really good back there. But, I don't know, it feels a bit... You don't know what he's going to score each game. With a lot of your players, you've kind of got a rough idea of... You just don't know where to pick it, and it could be on the lower end, it could be on the higher end. What price would you say it was?
470 with a break-even of 53.
You can get him at centre wing. I think if you want to take that... If someone wants to take that punt, I reckon I'm all for that. I like any fullback... Like Blaze Talangi, for example, you can't tell me that Cooler's not as talented as him as a footballer. You know what I mean? So he's probably got every opportunity to be tonning up as well.
I think you're better off going just Blaze Talangi.
Save the 200K or whatever. Potentially.
Like last year when Cooler went on that run, that was against bottom four sides who had nothing to play for. Manly had nothing to play for. They were throwing the ball around, and he still only scored what we expect someone to score at this point of the year. Like, 188, that's a bloody great score. But that's his ceiling at his absolute peak. He's playing the Broncos this week. He plays Melbourne Storm next week, and then he plays Penrith Panthers in round 14.
And that was the game Olakwatu also scored like 100 80 or something too, wasn't it? Crazy. Yeah, so they're crazy scores for
I think our expectations of Kula have to be just a bit more realistic. He's not even in the top 10 traded in this week, so I think people are just going to sit back and wait, which I think is a smart move.
Man, you know how we've been sort of like, hoping Tommy goes to that next level? Maybe he he's that guy that does just go to that next level, that he could open a can. So I reckon if it's someone you are interested in and you like what you see, back your gut.
As I said before, with the last 2 weeks, Broncos have let through the most SuperCoach points. If you're going to get him, you probably want to get him before Melbourne and Penrith. Get a decent score out of him. Magic round, I feel like Magic round is kind of a round where it feels like a festival, and kind of like Vegas where they're happy to throw the ball around.
For sure. It's like a big spectacle, a big show, and yeah.
For the Broncos, Reece Walsh interests me. Obviously, a lot of Tommy replacements. He is number 7th most traded in. Came back to earth on the weekend with a 93, so good to see there. Has to do a lot.
What do you mean, came back to earth?
Well, just like he scored 50 the week before, so...
Came back to earth usually means...
That
you like scored massively.
I meant the other way, but this is normal for him, scoring 93.
Yeah.
I'm interested. He plays Manly, and then he plays the Titans in round 12, Sharks in round 14. Goal kicking, no Reynolds. I'm interested.
Yeah, I think he's a decent option. I've sort of in the chat tried to suggest maybe it might be better for you to look elsewhere, purely just because of trade numbers. We're both in a similar spot where we're
use a lot of trades.
Yeah,
and you made a good point. What was your point?
My point is, like, you can bring him in, but you've just got to be prepared to hold him, and you need to be strict to it because, you know, you need to just go, okay, I can still play 17 strong other guys those weeks that he doesn't back up or he's not available. But your temptation will be that Origin teams will get named a couple of weeks. You'll see potentially someone like Teddy not named at a price that's almost a straight swap, or even if it's not, everyone's now getting Teddy, and you're like, I've got to get Teddy then, you know. So if it's going to cost you 2 trades to have him for 2 weeks, I don't think it's worth it. I think you'd be better trying to bring in which sucks. My idea for you was you should bring in Manu, but he's out. I was thinking move one of your, Colliero to fullback, bring in Manu, a guy that you know that you're not going to have to trade out in 2 weeks. But yeah, that's going out the window. I'd be looking at it closer. You're in a good mind space of what's right for you, and you're making good decisions, and you know your team better than anyone else that's going to try and give you any advice on it. So, but I'd just really think about it, because it seems like a bit of FOMO. You're scared of not having, because he might be the best options of what's available this week, and I don't know.
It's not only this week. It feels like he's going to be the best option, one of the better options available at the moment. Like Pappenhausen, Turbo out long term. Latrell's not quite living up to standards. We had another fullback go down recently. Like Chance has a pretty tough draw and named at 5'8".
But you know what? You could actually. I think this is where you need to be smarter than, I just think you need to think outside.
And I guess
you could buy Blaze Tulangi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could put him there he's going to be there. Who I know he's playing the Storm. But he played Melbourne last week. Storm are like a bit
very
chopped
similar,
up.
Very similar.
And I don't know, man. Not necessarily him. I just think that get him, but you can't trade him out in 2 weeks. You can't do it. And if you do that, you will not win this year.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
I agree.
But if you bring him in and hold him, you still could.
I'm trying to, as I said before, with all the fullbacks gone down, I don't think there's anyone else to go to, and I don't think there'll be no temptation to go to someone in a couple of weeks. I guess Edwards or Tedesco, one of them's going to miss out on Origin. I don't necessarily want to pay up for Edwards in a couple of weeks if he doesn't get named for Origin. But at the same time,
what if Teddy gets named for Origin and then Manu just looks really, really attractive?
Oh, Manu is in my plans. Manu's in my plans regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, just my thought process is
Do you think like if you are going to trade him out, like, I just feel like if you're doing that, your mindset is also loose for other decisions. I know it's about the points, but I'm just so worried you're going to run out of trades, and it's just there's any opportunity you can not cost yourself two when you can do it in one, you've got to do it.
Yeah. We'll get back to that. But the Titans play the Knights at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Pretty good game to start off. The Titans are decimated. Keeney at fullback. Khan Pierre and Jojo Fafita on the wings. Kelly and Shoop in the centres. Their halves are Chris Randall and Sam Verrills. Fodawaker and Jolloff in the front row. Aaron Clark at hooker. Fafita and Fermo on the edges. Cleese Haas at lock. Palacia, Isaac Liu, Josiah Paluhu, Joe Stimson on the bench. And for the Newcastle Knights, Armstrong, Tuala and Marju on the wings, Gagai and Best in the centres, Cogger and Hastings in the halves, Safidi and Thompson in the front row, Frizzell and Lucas on the edges, Brayley at hooker, Elliott at lock, Crossland, Pierce Paul, Brodie Jones and Jack Hetherington on the bench. Couple of things that stand out here. Kai Pierce Paul named on the bench once again. It's a bit of an awkward period here, but I have heard whispers that Frizzell's injured, but he's named, so if he does go through and he does play...
Lucas got injured too.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about that, but...
Yeah, so it's a bit confusing. I'm pretty sure I saw that in a Gagai, Lucas, and someone else were in doubt.
No, it was Gagai, Frizzell, and Best.
Okay, sure. Okay, I'll take that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts there?
I feel like this would be a good game it feels like it's a bit, like, I don't have any players in this one. Like Armstrong, if you're going to get him, probably not going to go that way. Not that I think he's terrible, but I just want to go elsewhere. I think it'd be a pretty good game to target. I just feel like it could be a bit loose.
Yeah, break even of 79, Kai Pierce Paul, 557k. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's this week or never, but it's this week or next week if it keeps up. Like,
how much is break even?
79.
Oh yeah, he's going to lose some cash coming off the bench again. He's probably going to score 40 unless he comes on and scores a try.
He scores a try, which I feel like he's more likely to score a try coming off the bench.
Yeah, I don't want to play him though at all. My second row's screwed because I got Piakura there too. I might have to deal with it. And same situation. I'm not exactly the same, but what's his face? The Goz is coming off the bench and eating into his minutes as well. So,
yeah, I don't love what's going on here. But for the Titans, they're decimated. So I think
stoked to be a Fafita owner, wouldn't you? I wish I had sort of just bit the board a couple of weeks ago.
For sure. He's nearly 900k at the moment. But Armstrong, Gagai, Best, Marju, all options for Supercoach. Maybe not Best, but Marju, 516k. Armstrong, probably a definite play this week against that side. But Marju, I want to talk about 516,000, 57 and 87 in the last 2 weeks. He's lost 288k from his starting price. He's 515k. He has break even of 17. They do have bye next week though.
The good thing about bringing in Marju is even though he's got a bye next week, it doesn't really matter next week, I don't think. Or you can probably cover that. You've not going to have too many Knights players, so unless maybe you've got Armstrong, and that's probably all.
Kai Pierce Paul
at best. Yep. So, the good thing is, as I was saying, is he plays round 13, but also plays round 14, and a lot of the guys we're bringing in at the moment don't play the round 14, like the Roosters guys, the Finns, all those sorts of players, and the Raiders don't play round 14. So I was tempted by Gagai, I should say. I was tempted by him a bit more just with the kicking and...
I guess with Gagai, Valentine Holmes has been awful like the last few weeks.
Made some pretty bad decisions.
And I know for Supercoach he's been okay.
But Billy pulled this, the accent.
Billy's the type of guy who could drop Holmes and be like, Gagai, you're back in, you're playing well.
He seems, bold enough to just have the honest conversation
And
and let him know it is. Eh?
Walsh and Ponga chose Walsh because Walsh was showing a lot
It'd
more.
be gold if
Holmes, yeah.
make it. I wouldn't mind Holmes stinking it up for the next 2 weeks and copping sub-50s if it meant that could keep him through the rest of the Origin period where he then went on a tear.
Get something to look out for. But Gagai, I think he's a good trade in with the goal kicking. Does have next week. He has the bye though. Sharks versus Roosters, 5:30 on Saturday will be the game of the round, I assume. Kennedy at fullback, Katoa and Mulatalo on the wings, Iro and Raymond in the centres, Atkinson, halfback potential option or a fullback replacement. Nico Hines named at 7, Hazelton and Kafusi in the front row, Nikora and Wilton on the edges, Brayley at hooker, McInnes at lock with Jack Williams, Talakai, Royce Hunt and Tahapua on the bench. And then on the other side of the park, Tedesco at fullback, Chupo and Young on the wings, Suali'i and Palga in the centres, which means that Joey Manu is out. Luke Keary at 5'8", Sam Walker at halfback, Hargraves and Collins in the front row. Brandon Smith is back at hooker. Crichton and Butcher on the edges, Radley at lock, Connor Watson, Egan Butcher, Spencer Linu and Terrell May on the bench.
Yeah, so Daniel Atkinson's a bit of a risky thing. Braden Trindle's on the extended, you mentioned, so he could just come in and take, he had a great game last, Atkinson, but maybe they just slot him in. But I think Braden Trindle's probably a bigger chance of replacing Hines this week if Hines isn't right to go.
I think so too.
With Atkinson, I mean, it was one killer game. And he had a blinder, on the eye test, great footy. I wasn't looking at it at a SuperCoach perspective.
How much does he look like Nathan Cleary?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't
Did
see
you
it?
reckon? I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't think so. But yeah, 64.
64 with an absolute blinder and goal kicking, which he's not going to do if Trindle or Hines are in the side.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. I think it's a bit risky. Maybe that was his breakout game, though, where it's given him all the world of confidence.
Bit more trust, yep.
And, he has played good. Maybe if he does play again this week, he could lock down that spot and maybe Trindle's then on the outer. I don't think it's a great attacking play. If you want to free up cash, maybe, but I wouldn't do it.
He's the 10th most traded in player. They play the Roosters and Penrith in the next 2 weeks. I know with a cheapie, you kind of got to go now if you want to capitalise, but I think at fullback and halfback, he's that kind of guy that could turn out like Jai Gray, who just really flopped, Chevy Stewart, someone like that. So that's why I don't like it. Obviously, the Roosters, with Brandon Smith back, they go back to a 4-forward bench. So a bit worried as a Terrell May owner, but I like what he's doing. And 40 minutes is enough for me. If he can keep pumping out 40 minutes for over 50 points, I'm happy. Not much else doing right here. Teddy's a pretty good option. But obviously Origin pending.
Yeah, I reckon he's way riskier than a Matt Burton.
Yeah, for sure.
You sort of, he's a 50-50, whereas Matt Burton's like a 1 in 3, 1 in 5, even though some are reporting with other contenders.
Yep. For the Rabbitohs versus the Cowboys, 7:30. Oh, actually, I don't think it's 7:45 on the Saturday. Latrell at fullback. Johnston is back with Jacob Gagai on the wing. Brother. That's tricky.
Why?
Whiten
Because you
and Thompson.
consider him as a buy?
Well, because he's bottom dollar. He's bottom dollar and he has a minus 90 break even.
Looks like he's been a headache for people that have owned him.
sure.
Do you want that headache?
Cody Walker and Dion Tapua in the halves. Mawali and Kepi in front row. Cook at hooker. Kolomatangi and Arrow on the edges. And Havili at lock. Peter Mavazelis, Tallis Duncan, Tom Burgess and Tane Milne on the bench. Tallis Duncan is one I was eyeing off, hoping he got a start, but obviously hasn't happened. For the Cowboys, Drinkwater at fullback, Felt and Tuolangi is back on the wing. Holmes and Vilea in the centres, Dearden and Townsend in the halves. McLean and Neem front row, Reece Robson is hooker. Lukey and Nanai on the edges, Ruben Cotter at lock. McIntyre, McKaylee, Finney Fuiaki on the fucking bench. And Jason Tamalolo, who looked good on the weekend.
Yeah, he's gone all right the last 3 weeks. Not confident to play him each week, but more confident than I would have been in the opening sort of 8 rounds or whatever it would have been. But yeah.
Yeah. This is awkward because like last week I reckon we would have targeted like all these Cowboys guys would have been targeted massively. I think this is a bounce back week for the Cowboys, but I also think it's probably a bounce back week for the Bunnies as well. Like I'm looking at their side and like their side hasn't changed much from round one. Obviously they don't have Cam Murray, but like I guess Campbell Graham's not there, but I don't know. I just really feel this is going to be a bit close, this sort of game. And they're both going to be playing a lot better than they have in the last few weeks.
I hope so for the Cowboys because they've been pretty disappointing for a bit, and they've just had their moments of brilliance in attack at times that have sort of helped them SuperCoach wise, but yeah, footy wise they've been a bit clunky. Not super confident in Drinkwater, but I'll probably
I still like it. I still like him.
Yeah. What game of the week is he playing? Sort of in the middle. He's a captain, isn't he?
Third last game.
It's probably a captain then.
But who like there's no real captain options unless you got like a Storm player against Parramatta, like Munster. Munster's probably the only captain option you want to do there, really.
Maybe like a Zarko, just because he had a bad week last week.
Oh, true. There's another game after that. I didn't even look at that. Yeah, Zarko. I don't mind a Zarko.
Yeah.
Zarko's running at that new guy, Alamelo.
I still think Drinky's a trade-in, though. Like, even though they're crap, because there's not very many options, if you don't have him, like, I still think he's a trade-in. You got pretty poor week there, but he's been scoring okay outside that while the Cowboys have been bad. Hopefully that game is the one that 20-0 to the Titans and then, coming back and still losing the game. Hopefully that's enough to kick him up the arse.
Agree. All right, let's move on. Fini Furiaki. He's lost a lot of money and he has a big break.
How much is he worth? And how much
he's worth $460, so he actually gained money on the weekend.
How high did he peak at?
This is his peak.
Price? That's as high as he's been.
His break-even 77, so...
I thought he would have dropped a bit more over the last few weeks, so that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's gained money every week pretty much. Obviously because of that 85 in his rolling average.
Yeah, that's right. He had that one game.
Let me just go into it. Yeah, so he's made money every week. He lost money around 6, but then he gained it every week.
So he's had that good score, and outside of that's been pretty crap, hey?
Yep.
I'd move on if you can, but...
The thing is, he'll get a starting edge role for Nanai in round 13. So,
be patient. Yeah, that's a good call.
It's worth like letting him go down
Definitely.
400k.
Yep.
So just don't play him. Like I just keep playing him because I'm like he can score a try, and he actually looked really good on the weekend. He got a line break and had a few tackle busts. So maybe the bench spot is pretty good for him. Kind of like High Pierce Paul, where the work rate goes up the less they play. Not much else doing there, though, but 150 game on the Sunday. Warriors play the Panthers. Taintor Picky is fullback. Watini Zalesniak and Montoya on the wings. Ali Liatua in the centres with Adam Pompey. Chance Nickel Clockstad and Tamari Martin in the halves. What a weird one. Fanua Blake and Bunty Afoa in front row. Wade Egan at hooker. Ford and Barnett on the edges. Tohu Harris at lock. We've got Dylan Walker, Ale and Tavanga and Laban on the bench. For the Panthers, Dylan Edwards at fullback, Taruva and To'o on the wings, Isaac Tungo and Taylor May in the centres. Jack Cole plays 5'8", Jerome Luai at halfback, Leota and Fisher Harris in the front row, Mitch Kenny at hooker. Luke Garner, one of the most traded in players this week, is named to start. We'll get to him very shortly. Maverick Guy gets a bench spot. Isaiah Yeo at lock. Dane Laurie, Lindsay Smith, and Matt Eisenhuth. We'll talk about Luke Garner straight away. Massive negative break-even coming off 118 and 100 points. He is currently... He's not even in the most traded in at the moment, so I think people know that he's probably not a great buy, but he's performing. He
Kind of tempting. I don't know. I still see him tempting because he's
break even at -46, so make 120k based on a projected score of 89, which, I mean, it could happen against the Warriors.
And I imagine he's going to get decent time over the Origin period. He'll probably start every game, and then they've got Mav Gaia there that they're putting faith in. So I don't know. I think it could be okay. I think it could have the upside in it as well. What are you thinking? Just because he'll potentially lose the spot and go back to the bench, and then you've got to deal with it, trading him out?
Kind of. With all these guys like Finny Furuaki and Kai Pierce-Paul in your side, you don't really want to take a risk on another guy who could potentially
Yeah, that is annoying.
With Sorensen named on the extended, I don't love it this week, especially because if he goes back to the bench, you're really hating life. And he's the third last game he's the first game on the Sunday, so it's pretty late in the week, which I don't like. But for the Warriors, they're decimated. Nickel clock's out at 5'8", Jewel maybe. Dallin goes down to 535k with 119 break even. What do we do with him? I think he's lost too much value now, so you just hold on. But it's awkward because do you really want to play him?
How much? 500? I'd almost just make the sell. Hey, the team's in a worse state. What sort of confidence do you have that it's going to pick up? The only thing is that he is a winger. Surely try should come his way.
He could try against anyone.
Yeah. It's frustrating to have lost the cast, but sometimes if you just look at that and go, I don't want to have that in my side this week, and I could get this other guy. Just maybe I'd take the hit. I sold him last week and still lost a bit of money, but not as much as what this week would be. But I'd still sell this week if I was in that spot.
Yeah, 535k. If you don't have other issues, maybe a sell, but it's annoying that he's pretty much lost 250k, which is not good. Second game on the Saturday. Have we missed anything here? There's a couple.
Only that it'd be awesome to have Nathan Cleary playing this game.
Jesus
for
Christ,
my side.
He'd be the captain option of the week for sure. Yeah. Storm play the Parramatta Eels. Longo named at fullback. Warbrick and Coates on the wing. Smith and Meaney in the centres. Munster and Wishart in the halves. Welsh and King at front row. Harry Grant at hooker, who surprised he got off a charge there with his Symbian on the weekend. Sean Blore and Elias Katoa on the edges. Trent Liera at lock. Howarth, Kamikamitha, Nelson Asafa Solomona, Alec McDonald on the bench. For the Eels, Blaze Talangi at fullback, Sevo and Simonson on the wing, Penasini and Sean Russell in the centres, Dijon Arcee and Dylan Brown in the halves, Campbell Gillard and Junior Paulo in front row, Joey Lussick hooker, Lane and Madison on the edges, Jermaine Hopgood at lock, Cartwright, Makatoa, Joe Offengawe and Kelma Tuolangi on the bench. What stands out here, Blaze Talangi at fullback, obviously one of the more traded in players this week at number 7, exactly 319k with a -5 break even. So it's not.
He looks so good.
Yeah.
He just I don't know, he had a little bit of just a little bit of smugness about the way he did it too, like the way he scored his tries and just got up with it nonchalant. Like one of them that he scored just sort of in front of Walsh, he sort of was facing with his back to the try line as he sort of put it down and just sort of had the coolest look on his face, and I was like, geez, he's got some attitude. Yeah, I like him. I really like him. I think when he was at 5'8", he was, it's probably somewhere he's been, familiar with, but fullback's his spot and he's comfortable, and even when he was at centre, I think just that 5'8" spot, the responsibility of having to deal with other people, it was just sort of him. Yeah, it's mad. He was killing it. I'd be considering buying him for sure, but the thing is, so many mad options. Like, you've got Cooler, you've got Farlogo, and him. Like, if you don't own any of them, it's pretty hard to split them.
Yeah. So
Farlogo, I think I've got the most inner excitement about of just have seen him before with, that Pappy game where they connected and went down the blind side and just kept finding each other and passing it to each other. That still sticks in my mind. But Blaze Talangi was mad last week.
31 points in hit-ups and 16 points in tackle busts. That's 47 points right there. And that's what you like to see from your cheapy prospects in the centre wing. So I think he's he's a good option, but it sucks we didn't get to see another week of him at fullback, because a lot of these guys kind of fall off after one big game. So I would have liked to see him back it up again. Putting him up against Fa'alongo. Fa'alongo is 339k with a break even of 30. So I don't think for Fa'alongo's necessarily a must-have this week. 15.
No, but I think if you can't have both, because your centre wings are starting to fill up, you know what I mean? We've been bringing in gun centre wings, and people are bringing in Armstrong, and if you want to bring in these guys as well, there's only 6 spots. So I think in a lot of these spots, you've got to make your mind up. Which one do you want?
Purely based on buys, I choose Talangi. But I think David Armstrong's the best out of them.
Oh yeah, you chuck him into me because he's actually playing fullback as well, and there's 4 of them now that are centre wingers that are playing.
And I think his draw's better. I
think Blaze Talangi looks like he's got a way more polished. He's got more tricks in his arsenal than Armstrong. Armstrong seems like he's fast and can support well, and Blaze Talangi just seemed like he had a more rounded.
So Talangi Storm then plays the Rabbitohs next week, and then plays the Sharks. David Armstrong plays the Titans this week. He has the bye next week, and I need to get up his next game because I don't have it here. And his game after that, I apologise, guys, because I'm trying to compare these in real time. He has the Storm in round. He has the Bulldogs in round 13. And then the Storm in 14.
Armstrong, that is.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Based on that, I think Talangi is the best one. Mainly because Armstrong has the bye next week. And, Talangi's a playable option next week too. But who scores more this week? Does it help you having a player this week to play more so, or I don't know who's going to make more money?
Well, immediately, Blaze, because you look at that minus B and stuff, but sometimes I think you need to be a bit more creative and just look at the bigger picture and just who you really back week to week. What side do you think is going to put their player in the best positions to be able to have these attacking plays and stuff like that? The Storm are a better side, a much better side, and they're a type of team that can put the pump and put 50, 40 points on a side, and Fa'alogo could be right in all of that, you know what I mean? Whereas Blaze Talangi in a paraside, I think I haven't looked close enough at their draw to really, but they're not on fire at the moment. They're not terrible, but maybe he has less opportunities. In good ball zone maybe if it's 50-0 versus if one team's scoring 50 and 40 more often, they're not really going to do it more often. Let's say 34 points for the Storm more often, or around 30 points, and Para only scoring 20, that's at least maybe 2 tries that, I don't know, that's just the way I kind of look at it too.
Agree. Moving on to, what are we at? The last game on the Sunday. The game everyone's going to be sticking around for, no doubt. The Tigers versus the Dolphins. Dream Buller at fullback. Staines and Almelo on the wings. Nathan Olam in the centres. Galvin and Sullivan in the halves. Utakamano and Clemmer in front row. Coruscant, 36-point Coruscant at hooker. Samuel Afanu and Alex Seafarth on the edges. Alex Twal at lock. Simkin, Pole, Kapoa, Sione Fainu on the bench. And then we've got Hammer back for the Dolphins, which pushes Trey Fuller out. Azarko and Bostock on the wings. Farnworth and Avarillo in the centres. Cody Nikarima and Isaiah Katoa in the halves. Bromwich and Nichols in the front row. Jeremy Marshall-King at hooker. Kafusi and Aiken on the edges. Bromwich at lock. Kerr, Donahue, Stone and Lemu Elu on the bench. Trey Fuller, gone. What are your thoughts? Because obviously, a lot of us were expecting this. He's 429k with a 21 break even. Hammer surely makes
Origin. I think even people that bought him expected this. It was reported that Hammer would be back this week. So they're expecting it, and they were just sort of It was just a matter of how much points he could score in those 2 weeks and how much money he could generate. I think some people are in the camp of moving on now, taking the cash and running and moving on to someone else. But with, a lot of the options going down, I think probably some of those people might be moving over to the other camp and thinking, do I just hold on to him and keep him for buy coverage? I'm glad I'm not in that situation and I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I feel like hold till round 13. It's a different story if Pappenhausen, Tommy, Latrell, Tedesco all going off. Like, you need to have one of them, but it's not happening at the moment. Just wait till round 13.
Yeah, and all these other cheapies that you do actually want to buy potentially, like if you want to buy a Farlogo or a Bystone, you can get them in centre wing as well. So it's not like you have to, you can make it work. I think I'd definitely be looking to sell him now and go to someone else, but the lack of options. Yeah, so I'd go Drinkwater if I didn't have Drinkwater. That's my answer. But outside of those guys, I don't think there's too many I'd be confident to lock in.
100% agree. But he's also at a value where it's like, can you really do much with 430k? Like,
maybe if you're selling Cleary as well, if you're an owner or something.
That's true. They do have a good draw though. I had his draw up right here. They've got the Tigers this week, who, mind you, have been defending quite well, but one person I do want to talk about is Zarko. He was pretty highly traded in last week, and a lot of people were disappointed, but they've got the Warriors next week, who the Warriors are struggling. The Raiders the following week. I'm actually very scared as a non-Zarko owner, but he's 828k. It's quite difficult to try to look to get him in, but Jermaine Sarko. What are your thoughts on him with the draw?
I own him. I'm a little bit excited to own him, but he's one of those guys that wouldn't surprise me if it was just a 40 or 50 some weeks, and it'd be hard to really pick. Matchups look good some weeks, but then it doesn't turn out. But he's also that guy that I'd be, he's just gone over for a hat trick and got me, 120 plus, closer to 150. Yeah, he's another guy that now that Manu's not available, that was my other guy in the chat that I was thinking if you didn't go to Walsh, maybe you just go him. He could be another one like an Angus Crichton where you just go, didn't get on him when everyone else does, but he's in my side now and it's too bad.
It's kind of what it feels like.
I think that's probably the right play. Yeah, it blocks him as well.
Yep. I like it because I see him next week. Like, I just see line break because when you look at the app, you see the line break, Jermaine Sarko line break, Jermaine Sarko try. I just see that taunting me next week. From what I remember, he actually scored. He scored very well every time he's played
Magic Round or
the Warriors. So hold on, let me have a look. So Warriors.
So you're looking him for next week more than this week.
Yeah. So Warriors in 2023, 96 points and 114 points against the Warriors. And the Warriors were killing it last year. So he's going to be a hard person not to have. Let's have a look at Magic Round last year for Zarko because he's the kind of guy who
has a little bit of a...
He likes Magic Round. Round 10 was Magic Round last year, 62 points against the Cronulla Sharks.
Tough.
I remember that game. They weren't expected to win that game. The Sharks they came out of the blocks and really killed it there. But he's also a crucial buy number and a person in the buy that you're going to death ride if you don't have him. So he's one I will consider. All right, that is it for the team list. Let's talk about trades. What trades are you looking at?
So when I sold Nico, everything started to change and the direction and stuff of which I had been in my mind for the last month or so. So I'm potentially thinking Nath. So I bought Walker last week, so I'd buy Matty Burton in halfback, and I'd sell Strange at 5'8" and buy Dylan Brown. So I'd have Brown, Burton, Walker, hopefully the three best halves of that period. I don't know whether it's worth it or not. I'm not too sure whether I'm going the wrong way because then the concern I've got is like Piakura is just going to drop. I can't play him. I can't play the guy. Do I just let him just bleed cash and just? I think that's probably just what I do, but because there's no one I particularly want in second row, and the only guy that I was kind of considering was maybe a Garner, just because it would also make cash at the same time. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably going to go the halves. There was also the possibility of selling Chevy Stewart and getting maybe like a Farlogo, or I'd probably prefer Farlogo over David Armstrong. But there was another guy in the mix. Oh, yeah, Cooler, maybe him. Like, that's just something that's in the mix. And then I've got Appy Coruscant there, but the guy I would have sold Appy Coruscant to would be Jeremy Marshall-King, but I'm just not in a rush to do it. He's put out like 40s and 50s, and Appy's putting out 30, but that extra 20 points doesn't attract me that much at the moment. And I just feel like I'll sell Appy and he'll have a massive game, because I haven't owned him for a massive game, and I've had him for pretty much all year. The first 2 rounds I didn't have him. Maybe I got him for round 2. No, I bought him round 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. My initial trade thoughts were Turbo to Walsh, gains me 100k, and Fata Ape to David Armstrong. But the more I think about it, like,
I don't like either of them.
Well, see, the Fata Ape to Armstrong thing, I'm trying to build depth in my side, but I'm like...
He's so commonly owned, though. Now, a lot of people... I don't know how popular owned, but I feel like every man and his dog got an Armstrong over the last couple of weeks. Maybe that's where, like, if everyone else is filling up in these other spots, that's where you could go...
I do like his draw over the next couple of weeks, though. So I think he's a playable cheapie who can gain a bit of value.
I'm just going to make it real. I've been pretty anti-Armstrong for the last couple of weeks. He might lose his spot.
Do you have him?
Like him, eh? I don't know.
Do you have him?
No. I'm not.
Neither do I. But
I'm never that like, I don't like this player for SuperCoach, or I'm always like, maybe they, because he has shown a bit of potential, right? There's the speed, but
and I don't know. I like what I've seen from him. Like, I don't know. It could be Talangi as well, but
the draw will help his cause, and it has been a bit wet in the couple of the last weeks, a bit too-ish. So I just don't know. I just reckon I just don't vibe him.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at my side, and I'm like,
oh, you wouldn't be able to afford like Farlongo if you wanted to.
Oh no, I could, but like it's just I want to fill all these holes in my side that aren't making money, but at the same time, Finney Fuaki and Kai Pearce-Paul are very big headaches. Do I sell one of them? Maybe
if you sell one of them, it's less of a headache because you've only got one of them. You can deal with one of them.
Kai Pearce-Paul, like, is he a sell over Finney Fuaki? Because Finney Fuaki is at least going to play that round 13 bye. Kai Pearce-Paul has a bye next week, so he'll lose a bit of money, but then that round 13 will come. But will he even start come round 13?
I think I've been sort of looking at Kai Pearce-Paul as, even when he wasn't on the bench, is this guy potentially the attack's not coming. I mean, he probably can, but I thought we were going to see way more pop out offloads and way more try scoring, like try assist just close to the line with that pop out ball. But just on the vibe of what they off, I know Filiaki's like a nugget and he's got a bit of wrecking ball about him, but I reckon I'd be holding Kai Pearce-Paul and selling. But it's the factor of round 13. It depends what your numbers are like. Remember, you can only play 13.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to be in your best score. He could be, though, because he's going to start, isn't he, in round 13? Filiaki.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Finney Fuaki is, but Kai Pearce-Paul is he actually. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He'll be there, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to do there, but I will update everyone on Thursday come lockout.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing the halves moves. The only reason I won't do the halves moves
I'm not selling SJ yet because I'm waiting for Dylan Brown to get his duel, so I'm going to move him up next week and then move Strange into the 5'8" role because I think over the following weeks after that, I'm fine playing one of these guys in 5'8", like Galvin and Strange. So
I might only do one of the halves. I don't know.
Oh, is that Dylan Brown? You're going to move him?
Well,
you don't have him.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think maybe I'd buy him next week, maybe, and then. But yeah, I think,
true.
But the BE, I think you're going to go up a little bit more too.
All right, let's do the tipping point. I want to start off with
I won just by 1 point. I just got scraped that in.
Yeah, it was
So close. I was riding it hard all
It
week.
was so close. I got Drinky and Iro went nowhere near.
That 100, yeah, you're fucking pumping.
But I got Dom Young in the first.
Straight captain. I'll straight captain hero.
I got Dom Young in like the first 10 minutes, which was nice. But it came down to Terrell May, who updated to 58. 64 was the line. So that's how much the budge kind of helps. Because you budge me up to 64.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the Prince of Magic round, Reece Walsh.
3?
Yeah, we'll do 3 because it's Carnage this week. The Prince of Magic round, Reece Walsh. We'll do the number 1 traded in player at the moment, which is... Oh, it's loading right now. I can't see it. Fuck me dead.
I can't even think in my mind who I'd predict.
I think it's Sam Walker.
So open.
It is Sam Walker. So let's do Sam Walker. Sam Walker. The Prince of Magic round, Reece Walsh. Who else have you got?
Blaze Talangi. Maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say Blaze Talangi, but it feels too like cheapy.
Yeah, let's go a primo guy. Let's go who's a potential captain later in the round. It's tough. Maybe Dylan Brown's a bit boring. Do we go Izako?
I want to do Drinky again.
Latrell, he's a bit not really relevant enough.
Drinky.
Yeah, let's do Drinky again.
You want to do Drinky? Yeah, okay, let's do Drinky. Or let's do Holmes. We'll do Drinky. We'll do Drinky. It's fine. All right, so overall under Reece Walsh, 75 points.
I'll take over and go to 85.
Take over and go over 90.
I'll take over 90 and go to 95.
I'll take over 95 and go 100.
I'll go over 100 and go 103.
I'll take under 103.
All right, cool. I think 103 is the number.
Yeah, it's about that.
I'd like it to be a little 10 or 20 more, though.
You've gone up?
Not too much more.
Yeah. Sam Walker plays the Sharks. Let's start at over or under 55 points.
Oh, that's a roughie, eh? Can I just bring up his last scores real quick? Can we have a look at them real quick? Is that okay? Am I allowed to? Is that cheating?
Are you ready on Drinkwater while you do that?
Yeah, we can do drinking now.
All right, Drinkwater, start the line at 75 points.
75. Yeah, I'll go to 80 and go over.
I'll go over 90.
Magic round. I'd normally just say no to it and go under, but I'm going to bump it up a bit. I think Magic round's worth 15% more.
Yeah, about right.
I'll go to 105 and over 105.
Oh. I'll go over 112.
I'll take under 112. 111 I liked.
Damn it.
Mine, so.
All right, over 112. And let's go Sam Walker, 55.
Okay, Sam Walker. I did bring them up. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go over 55 and go to 60. Over 60, yeah.
I'm going to go under 60.
Damn, I was going to almost go under 55. I was just trying to get a little bit more out of you there. I'm not confident super this round.
Hey, at least you've got him as a player, so it's not like you'll be cheering him on.
I want him to go better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'll be cheering him on. All right, I like that. And captains, I'm going Scott Drinkwater. Again, I think the Cowboys do bounce back. I do think the Rabbitohs bounce back, but prime time.
Yeah, I sold Turbo last week, and I was pretty close to selling Walsh to Drinky so I could captain Drinky back-to-back rounds against the bottom 2 teams. So I've just got to stick to that. So,
Yep. I like it.
Vice captain.
I haven't even thought about vice captains, to be honest.
Can't do Walsh. So the fullback. Maybe Matty Burton. He came from the Panthers.
I like that.
Matt Burton.
I like that. I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the teams here. There's not much else you can do. Like, it's going to be a rough week if these high upside guys don't turn up. But that's it for the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week. Magic Round. I'm so excited. I will be. Me and Mikey will be at the Caxton from 3 p.m. on Friday. So
I'll be still drive.
we're leaving.
Oh no, I'll be around.
Yeah, we're leaving like 2 a.m. in the morning. So hopefully get there like 11 or 12. Caxton by 3. So
I'll do my best.
Me and Mikey will be there. Maybe hopefully Timmy will be there. But throughout the weekend we'll be there. I had Dio Dave from Hello Sport. He works here. He was asking me just before. He was like, "Are you going to go to any of the meetups or anything?" And I'm not planning on going to any of these like bloke meetups and stuff because I feel like the natural interactions between all these guys is going to be the best part of it.
Oh, where you just bump in and go, "Oh my God."
Yeah, exactly.
It's you.
Exactly.
Like when I bumped into Goxie last year. That was great fun.
Who?
Goxie. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Goxie. Yeah.
So we should be a good time. I think we'll see Matty Johns. Apparently he's at the Caxton a bit.
Yeah, he got the call up. They dumped Fletch and Hindy.
Yes.
Bit weird.
Our premium group is going off. Shout out to our premium group.
Yeah, shout out to Corey, legend.
Shout out to Corey. We've actually we've had judiciary hearings in our premium group, which has been a couple of people. Oh.
No, but he's ranked really well too. He's one of his best years. Like he's in the top 1,000. He's
and that's all because of the premium group.
I think.
I think it's because of the premium group, and he's there's a couple of people got kicked out, so we put on a judiciary hearing. And
quite fun.
It was pretty funny. We actually have Latrell Mitchell, Michael Maguire, and Gus Gould in the chat.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any other premium SuperCoach chats with them. These might not be the official ones. They might just be other random people from random parts of the world
with the same names somehow. But shout out to the premium group, and I have to shout out Patrick Barton, who. He goes on about Brad Schneider. He bought in Brad Schneider a couple of weeks ago for the Rabbitohs matchup, and Brad Schneider's got injured. So, and he goes on about Danny Levi.
Danny Levi loves Danny Levi, the GOAT. You reckon?
Loves Danny Levi. So it's actually my go-to SuperCoach group at the moment, which is, I mean, it's a good group. I like it. All right, cheers for tuning in. We'll see you at Magic Round.
Yeah.